Chapter 16, almost at the end. Keep going for it. This is a chapter inspired by my grandmother, Betty Howitt. And at 81 years of age, she went back to university. She'd been an entrepreneur her whole life, had businesses all across Canada, lived an amazing life, a great adventure. But for her, when she got into her 80s, she was really curious about the religions of the world and went back to university to study theology. Now, I'm fortunate to have that DNA in me where I love to keep learning and growing. But as I notice, the older I get, the harder it seems to be. So in this chapter, we're going to talk about what you need to do to keep stretching yourself and keep going for it. And that was a key phrase that my grandmother used to say and my own mother used to say to me and still says to me to this day, which is just go for it. Keep going for it. Keep trying new things. Keep expanding your adventure. So the question in the chapter is, how good are you at regularly stretching your personal limits? This is a quote from George Bernard Shaw that has inspired me since I was about 15 years old. We don't stop playing because we grow old. We grow old because we stop playing. And it's easy as you get more established and older in life to stop taking risks and stop stretching yourself. It's also a surefire way to have your soul and your brain start to die. So the key point of this chapter is to keep creating opportunities to be a novice learning from masters. To be someone that's in a situation where you're very uncomfortable, probably over your head, but you've got an expert guide to help you figure it out and grow stronger as a result. You really need to work on this if, in the past 6 months, you haven't once thought, how the heck am I going to make it out of this alive? Or get out of this situation intact. Or in the past 12 months, you haven't tried something new and then been a spectacular failure. You just haven't been in that situation where it didn't look good and was messy. If a challenge makes you squeamish, you likely back down and you haven't pushed through on any of those. You haven't recently felt like the least competent person in a group. And there is something you would love to try only if someone would teach you or there was a way to make it happen. The key point with all of these is that as we get more successful as CEOs, executives, and leaders, we often get into a comfort zone and a rut. And we don't put ourselves back into that amateur novice scenario. And as a result, we can grow weaker even though we get more experienced. The solution for this, and one of the solutions in the chapter, is something called the stretch list. And many people will have bucket lists of cool things they want to experience in their life. So pulling from that same vein of thinking, this is the stretch list, is the ways in which you like to stretch yourself and expand your capabilities. The key is to do it in both work, for yourself, and in life. One of the major habits that I suggest you do as part of this, though, is to always find a local guide. Look, we're not 17-year-olds anymore. We're experienced people that have lots of great things going for us. Let's not waste our time. Find a local expert or a local guide in whatever it happens to be. So as an example, my son and Braden and I were in London earlier this year, and we wanted to learn photography. He's really passionate about it, and I wanted to learn about it as well. So we found a photography teacher in London who took us all around London shooting pictures and teaching us the technical aspects of amazing photography. It cost us a bit of money, but in 4 hours we learned a ton and had a great time too. So the exercise for you is to complete the stretch list you see on the screen. Make a list of the things you would like to do that would really stretch you in work, in life, or for yourself. And then who would be a local guide? Now, maybe you don't know a local guide or expert, but who do you know that you could reach out to and find one? Pretty well guaranteed there's a local expert in everything you want to do. So the challenge. I want you to think about the number one thing off that stretch list that you would like to do. Maybe you feel a little bit of trepidation about doing it. But write down the number one thing you want to do to stretch yourself, and then reach out and make a call or send an email to find someone that you can do it with or learn from and get it booked. Going back to the master tools, which are from chapter 17 of the book, as part of your quarterly plan, you may indeed have one of these stretch items, whether it's in work, self, or life, every quarter. Maybe that's more than you need to do, but it probably should be once or twice a year you've got something that continually pushes you along. So the summary. We got to push ourselves out of our comfort zone on a regular basis because that's where the magic happens. You learn, grow, and keep your soul agile and moving ahead when indeed you're doing things that stretch you. But unfortunately, when you get established and comfortable, we're less likely to do it. What you want to do, as Liz Wiseman talks about in her book Rookie Smarts, is continually go back to that rookie mentality and that rookie state where there's massive amounts of learning and you're stretching and expanding who you are at the core so that you don't start to become stale, stagnant, and become ineffective as a leader.